I want to thank these ladies for coming. My only regret is there aren't more people in the audience, because what you have to share is really important. People in Shasta County need to know what great work you're doing for the people that need you the most. So with that, I want to thank you both for being here today.
Thank you. Am I live? Okay, great. Again, my name is Karen Sahota. I'm the lead project director for the Multi-County Psychiatric Advance Directive project, or we call it PADS. Next. And I know we have a very brief amount of time, so I'm going to try to give you as much information on Psychiatric Advance Directives and how your county has really stepped up and is creating an amazing partnership with other counties in the state. And first of all, I have to say—
Can I pause you one second? Council Larmer.
Mr. Chairman, it was brought to my attention that we skipped R5.
No, we had, if you look to the front page, we're taking the presentation R6 immediately following the recess.
Got it. Thank you.
You're forgiven. I'm just, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you, and my apologies. I should be first saying good afternoon, Chair, and members
welcome.
of the board. Thank you very much for having us here. So a Psychiatric Advance Directive is very little known in California at this time. Right now, we pretty much use our advanced healthcare directives, which are end-of-life decisions, whereas a Psychiatric Advance Directive is one that is a legal document, but really looks at your psychiatric health and pre-planning in the case of a crisis. So you can get information out to law enforcement, hospitals, crisis teams, your family, in advance of a crisis. It allows a person with a mental health crisis to retain their decision-making capacity by choosing a trusted individual, or who we call a preferred contact, to help advocate for their choices. PADS have been around since the 90s, but again, still relatively unused and unknown. Next. So what happened was our Mental Health Services Oversight and Accountability Commission, who oversees mental health services funding, decided to create an innovative incubator, and one of those topics was PADS. I was contacted. My experience is 30 years in county employment, protective services, law enforcement, and mental health, so I was I knew quite a bit about the workings of a county. I was asked to gather other counties on board. So as you can see on the map, we have 7 counties. And in our first phase, what we're really looking at is creating that usability and understanding of psychiatric advance directives. So we created, using about 6 or 7 different templates from around the country, we created a standardized template. We involved our peers and law enforcement and stakeholders in the creation of the categories and components, a training curriculum, and most importantly, the one aspect that's been missing this whole time is technology. How do you access it in the moment? So you don't have to carry around a paper 30-page document. How do we access it? So we created the technology. And then, of course, outcomes are always important, so we know how to improve our process. Next. So as you can see right now, where we are in phase 2, these are our categories. So really looking at consent, current medical conditions, accessibility. On the right side, Richard is our poster person right now on looking at that digital component. And we've also created a logo because we do want it to be recognizable as we move forward. Next slide. So if law enforcement or hospitals were to pull up Richard's information, they would be able to get, he's in a crisis. He is not able to express how he's feeling or what's happening. So to be able to have information that says, I love dogs, I love the Dodgers, I have 4 kids, I may be suicidal, I only speak Spanish, I'm on such and such medication, you may want to check me for methamphetamines. I mean, it's whatever he puts in it, it's based on his information at the fingertips of law enforcement and hospitals and crisis teams. Next. So our current statute that was ratified, AB 1029, allows for a standalone psychiatric advance directive. What we've been working on with Assemblymember Irwin is AB 2352, which we actually have it as a 2-year bill now. It is on hold. As we look at engaging our community and law enforcement, what we've really come to understand is there is fear. There is fear of technology, there is fear of law enforcement, and what we really need to say is we understand your lifelong trauma, but we don't want to perpetuate that on the next generation. And so how do we get more of that information out? Next slide. So we're looking at phase 2. Phase 1 is coming into its final year, And we are rolling into phase 2, which we will be doing so with your county, and really looking at training, engaging law enforcement, creating those MOUs with law enforcement and your hospitals. This is how you access it. This is how it works. This is how you can help bring a person to baseline. What we're looking at also is that cost effectiveness. We don't want to just put everyone in jail or in hospitals. That's expensive. But can we bring the person that's in a crisis to baseline to help reduce those costs? Plus, utilizing peer support from counties, it's billable under Medi-Cal. So really looking at some of those benefits of not only getting them the services that they need in that moment, but how do we also help prevent perhaps an officer-involved shooting? So really being able to get that information out. Next. And we really see PADS fitting perfectly throughout the entire system of care. Whether you are justice involved, whether you are in an outpatient treatment, a full service partnership, whether you are homeless, whether you're in a wellness center, and you have 2 fabulous wellness centers here in Shasta County. I visited them both. And also follow up after hospitalization. Let's try to prevent that. The whole idea too of a PAD is preventing that cycle, that recidivism into the jails, into hospitalization. So really being able to address some of those resources that they may need in the moment. And also really addressing our college age kids or our young adults. Don't perpetuate lifelong. We don't want to create the next generation of those that are in that cycle. Next, I think it's you. Oh, this is me. Okay. Again, we've already talked about how it fits through the system of care. I want to make sure that you have enough time. Next slide. There we go.
So this is a peer-focused project, and this lets the community participate. And so we've heavily focused allowing the peers' voice be focused throughout this project from the beginning, and they've been involved in every step of the way. And this project has allowed for person-centered care by entering and ensuring client choice and self-determination. Next slide. These are some quotes from peer support specialists across the state of California. Next slide. And these are some quotes from our community in Shasta County. Next slide. And our goal here in Shasta County with this project is to target our local wellness centers. This is Hill Country in Circle of Friends in Bernie, California, and our Sunrise Mountain Wellness Center, which is run by Kingsview here in Redding, California. And we plan to hold informational sessions here at these wellness centers and garner a sign-in sheet or essentially a sign-up sheet and garner interest. And once we have interest, then our plans are to do work groups and walk people through creating their own paths.
And that is all. We are open for questions. Thank you.
The timing was impressive. You got it. Supervisor Garman.
Thank you, Chairman Cry. Ladies, that was a very worthwhile and great presentation. I'm glad you shared that information with us, and stay cool out there in the next couple of weeks, okay?
And thank you for coming. I just wanted to say I've been to both those wellness centers several times. The Bernie location, I was there at the grand opening. Actually, Kingsview too. I went to both grand openings. So they're both doing great work, and I think a lot of people are not aware that they're out there, but they are a resource center, and it's something we want to encourage people to take advantage of. So thank you, and where are you from?
I'm from Southern California. I came up from Thousand Oaks.
Oh, yeah, you did come from Southern California. I'm sorry.
No,
Long trip.
I love it up here, and I have to say you have an amazing team up here.
I know we do. I know we do.
It's been a pleasure to work with them.
And we have a